Picture this. Lunchtime in a downtown office. The network drops, the point of sale terminals fail, badge readers stop authenticating, and nobody can check people in. The carrier says the circuit is fine up to their demark. The building team says the demark is on the carrier. Tenants are calling the front desk. By the time ownership is sorted, it's after closing. I'm Alex Morgan. Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. Today we focus on that last meter, where the handoff lives and where simple clarity saves hours of downtime. With me are Michael Harrington and James Rogers. Michael, James, glad you're here.
Glad to be here. That scene is painfully familiar. From an operational standpoint, the first thought is always, what breaks if this goes down? Tenants notice immediately, and operations feels the pressure right away.
Exactly. When the impact is visible, payments, phones, access, the impulse is to move fast. But speed without clarity usually means you make the wrong fix, or none at all. Reliability starts with disciplined maintenance, and that includes how you hand things off.
Let's dig into why this boundary gets messy. Michael, what are the routine failure modes you see at that demarc point?
Several things keep coming up. First, ambiguous ownership. People literally don't agree on who touches what.
Right, so techs arrive and there's no obvious starting point?
Exactly. Then add poor labeling, panels, ports, patch cords unlabeled, and missing spares. You can have perfect fiber, but if the right panel can't be found or there's no spare cord, you waste hours swapping blame instead of restoring service.
And single points of failure. Owners sometimes accept one entry to save money. No diversity, no alternate power for the demarc. That's a short-term saving with long-term consequences. Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs every time.
So those are the symptoms. How do we draw the line clearly in procurement and operations? Who should own the fiber, the patch panel, the UPS feeding that demarc?
My baseline is straightforward. Carriers own up to a clearly marked demarc point. Splice, handoff box, or patch field, and the building owns everything inside that point. When that's documented, accountability is much simpler.
Wait, when you say demarc point, do you mean the physical box on the wall or the splice in the vault?
I mean the physical handoff the carrier signs off on. Splice, handoff box, or patch field. That specificity decides who owns the wiring and the associated power after that point. I mostly agree. Though here's my friction. Owners need control over a small set of elements, like the first patch into the building panel or the UPS feeding edge devices, so they can perform local workarounds during incidents. Give carriers exclusive control of those, and you limit the owner's ability to restore service quickly.
I get that concern, but extending carrier responsibility into the building increases cost and complexity. That's manageable until something fails. Then SLAs become fuzzy and response slows.
Which is why compromise matters. Agree the exact boundary in writing. Keep critical local spares and power under owner control, and require carriers to leave matching spares and labeled handoff ports. Shared tests settle the rest.
Shared tests. Let's make that concrete. What should a joint acceptance test look like so neither side can say it worked on our end?
First, run an ODDR trace so you have a measurable baseline for continuity and loss up to the demarc.
So you can point at numbers, not just say it's fine.
Second, perform an end-to-end functional test, a loopback or authenticated ping from the carrier endpoint to a building endpoint.
And third, physically verify labeling and sign the demarc diagram. If a test fails, record who fixed what and update the handoff document immediately.
Quick additions, spares, and power checks?
Yes, require 2 matching spare patch cords on site, a labeled test port at the demarc, and confirmation of whether the demarc or its feeding equipment is on backed up power. Also include a contact and escalation list with names and roles.
And tie pass-fail thresholds to the tests, loss values for fiber, recorded test time, technician names. Contracts should specify who supplies and maintains spares and labeling after turnover.
Can you share a short real example where those steps actually cut outage time?
Sure. One campus had a single fiber entry and relied on verbal handoffs for years.
After a project, they created a one-page demark diagram, required 2 labeled spare patch cords, and ran joint OTDR and ping tests. Months later, an outside contractor cut the wrong sheath. The carrier could show the trace to their splice point, and the building team swapped a spare patch. Service was restored in under an hour. No finger pointing, just a recorded fix and an updated document.
I have a medical office story. Badge readers and nurse phones went dark. The carrier said circuit was fine, but the building team found an unlabeled patch that had been rolled back during a vendor visit. Because they had a recent joint acceptance form and spares, they repatched immediately. Tenants noticed, but downtime was minutes, not hours.
Those are great. Low effort, high impact wins. For listeners who want a short checklist to put in contracts and closeout packages, what belongs on it?
Make it simple. One-page demark diagram and ownership table. Physical labeling standard with photos. 2 on-site spare patch cords. A labeled test port. Recorded OTDR/trace and functional test results. And a documented contact and escalation list.
And add acceptance criteria. Pass-fail thresholds for loss, technician sign-off, and confirmation of power for demark gear. Put responsibility for maintaining labeling into the contract so it doesn't decay after turnover.
2 practical actions you can take tomorrow. Find or create your building's one-page demark diagram and place it where both facilities and IT can access it. Second, schedule a joint acceptance test within 30 days if you haven't run one since your last major change. Those 2 moves alone cut confusion in an incident.
If you're writing specs, require a labeled test port and 2 matching spares. Small cost, huge leverage for operations.
And don't forget to ask, what breaks if this goes down? That question helps you prioritize redundancy where it actually matters. Tenants feel outages first. Design with their needs in mind.
Before we sign off, let's recite the acceptance packet items one last time so listeners can download them as a checklist.
One-page demark diagram and ownership table. Physical labeling standard with photos. Recorded OTDR/trace and pass-fail functional test. On-site spares and a labeled test port. Documented contacts and 24/7 escalation steps.
And contract language tying those items to acceptance and maintenance responsibilities so they stay in place after turnover.
If you want a starting place, we created a one-page demark handoff checklist that mirrors everything we've covered. Head to the Built, Wired, and Secured Resources page, download it, and use it at procurement, turnover, and after any change.
Do the tests, keep the spares, and make ownership visible. Those 3 steps shorten outages and keep tenants operational.
And update the demark diagram after every change. The best day in operations is the one nobody notices. Make the last meter invisible in the right way.
That wraps up this episode of Built, Wired, and Secured. Today, we looked at how a clear, documented, and testable last meter handoff reduces downtime and simplifies incident response. Thanks, Michael and James, for the practical steps and hard-won examples.
Download the one-page demark handoff checklist from our resources page. Run a joint acceptance test and put your demark diagram where both facilities and IT can find it. Until next time, built to last, wired with intention, secured for the real world.